This is a video that will help you in your Barbie Bungee project software piece. Here I have actually inputted some of my own values, things that you will not necessarily have in your project, or values that you might not necessarily have, but all of these pieces plus some graphs are definitely things that you need to include in your software program. So, the things that I want to tell you are things like how to calculate using an Excel or Google spreadsheet. How to utilize this program. Ultimately, this bar here at the top, f sub x, is the same in both programs. That is your function bar. And it tells you the equation that you have used or the value that is in a particular cell. Right now it's blank because I have a blank cell highlighted on my screen. But if I were to go to gravitational potential energy, it tells me in that function bar that I have actually done a calculation. If I double click on that cell, it actually highlights the cells that I have utilized in that calculation. So you don't have to input values every time. Ultimately, you can reference a cell so that when you change the number in that cell, it changes the output in the cell that you have highlighted, and therefore you can actually manipulate any program based on your needs. In this case, gravitational potential energy, you guys are very familiar with, is mass times gravity times height. So I have referenced the cell for the mass of Barbie, which I have blank at this moment, and then I have inputted 9.8 for the value of the acceleration due to gravity, and then multiplied by the starting vertical distance that Barbie is above the ground. So, to write an equation so that the program actually gives you an output, you have to always start with the equals sign. So you'll notice that in this cell I don't have y equals, I don't have x equals, it's just equals B1 times, which I utilize the 8 key. Shift 8 gives me the asterisk. That stands for times or multiplied by. Don't use an x, you need to use that star key. So B1 times 9.8 times B10, and then just press enter. And that right now gives me a value of 0 because I don't have anything inputted for the mass of Barbie. However, if I inputted 2 kilograms, then I would get a value of 392 for my starting gravitational potential energy in joules. So, these are things that you need to consider when designing your software program. Things that don't change are things like your safety margin, your starting vertical distance, the unstretched length of your bungee cord, and the spring constant that you have calculated in the lab as part of this project. Things that you will need to calculate are actual height of jump, starting gravitational potential energy, ending elastic potential energy, distance of stretch, and length of string to add. So consider these when making your output for either a Google spreadsheet or an Excel spreadsheet that is very user-friendly. In this case here, I would not necessarily consider this extremely user-friendly because of all of this data down here. I would either make a larger space in between or put it on a different sheet. If you choose to do that, it becomes much more complicated. So I would just make sure that it's off to the side and doesn't make the user feel like they have to input anything in this area. The only thing that you need for when you go to basically test your program is the space for the mass of Barbie and height of Barbie to be inputted on site, and for it to tell you the length of string to add right up front. So I should know, given a rider of a specific mass and height, how much string I need to add so that they get a really great thrill while still being safe. So you might consider different fonts, different colors, boxes, borders, things like that to help make your program more user-friendly. This also does not include the graphs that you need on your program to get full credit. So please consider that while looking at mine compared to yours. If you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, there's a tutorial on how to use spreadsheets to basically make your lives easier.